everyone, and welcome to Session 3 of the Global Black Feminist Reading Circle. My name is Randy Henderson, and I am one of the Black Feminist Reading Circle members of this online group. This session runs from January 20th until June 2nd and includes 2 week-long breaks. Our democratically selected reading material is Harriet A. Washington's book, Medical Apartheid, The Dark History of Medical Experimentation on Black Americans from Colonial Times to the Present. Our book group meets each Tuesday evening from 6:30 to 8 on the Google Plus Hangouts on Air platform. You may find the Global Black Feminist Reader Circle on Google Plus, YouTube, and Facebook, and always feel free to join us in reading our story together.
I am Joel Jones from Charleston, South Carolina. I'm your moderator for this afternoon. Welcome to the Global Black Feminist Reading Circle. Today is March the 3rd, 2015. Today we will be covering Chapter 5, The Restless Dead, Anatomical Dissection and Display. At this time, we would like to go around the Google Earth here, and would like everyone to introduce themselves.
My name is Georgette Moses. I'm participating from Columbia, South Carolina this evening, and look forward to our usual deep discussions about this chapter and book.
And we just had a new person. I think she's muted though. Came on, Purify Love. Michelle Odom. I am in Brooklyn, along with Randy Danielle. I'm one of the co-hosts of the Global Black Feminist Reading Circle. We are in session 3, which runs through June 9th of this year, reading Medical Apartheid, The Dark History of Medical Experimentation on Black Americans from Colonial Times to the Present. You can look for us on Google Plus or YouTube or Facebook to learn more about us or to join our community on Google Plus to get updated on everything that's happening and find links to get into the conversation. So welcome, and I'm happy to be here. Wasn't sure I was gonna make it tonight, Joelle.
Okay.
I'm Kim, and this is my daughter, Johnny.
Hi.
Hi.
She just came in. I'm Brandon, and I'm in Brooklyn also. And I guess that's it for me. I'm enjoying reading the book. I don't know if you call it enjoying, but
Right.
Back to you, Joelle.
Okay, thank you. The chapter illustrates the horrors of a medical apartheid. The author, Harriet A. Washington, gives several accounts of the roles of individuals, institutions, and government policies that allow the degradation of African Americans across the country. Reading the excerpt, no place in the United States offers a great opportunities for acquisitions of anatomical knowledge, subjects being obtained from among the colored population in significant numbers for every purpose, and proper dissection carried on without offending any individuals in our community. This was advertisement for the South Carolina Medical College, which is MUSC down here in Charleston. The above advertisement signifies the attitude of society at that particular time. However, as you read through this chapter, the dates are not as distant in the past as one may think. Today, 29 states have what is called presumed consent, statutes which allow the coroner to harvest organs of individuals without prior permission. In 1997, the Los Angeles Coroner Office was found to have sold more than 500 pairs of coronaries to a year to an eye and tissue office transplant bank. 80% were from blacks and Latinos whose coronaries had fetched a profit of 1,000%. After reading this chapter and book, I have a better understanding why African Americans, the poor and underserved citizens in our community, have distrust for the medical corporation. I also look at every university that has a medical school and wonder what atrocities happen there. And that's what I do now. As we go further into the reading, we're going to see that if you got a medical university, you know, around us, or whatever happened and whatever medical advances, it was done with our bodies,
Right,
dead or alive.
right.
Michelle, do you want to read the second part of that?
Okay.
Thank you.
The North shared the South's dependence upon black bodies. Medical historian David Humphrey records the widespread belief that by 1788, few blacks were permitted to remain in the grave. As in the South, Northern hospitals expected blacks to submit to research, including autopsy and dissection, as payment for having been treated in charity wards, and all blacks were consigned to such wards. Northern schools also relied upon clandestine exports of black bodies from the South, which were only briefly interrupted by the Civil War. An industry sprang up in shipping black bodies to Northern medical colleges. Dr. F.C. Waite recalled that many bodies of Southern Negroes were used in Northern medical colleges. A professor of anatomy in a New England medical school told me he had an arrangement under which he received in each session a shipment of 12 bodies of Southern Negroes. They came in barrels, marked turpentine. Black graveyards were favored hunting grounds of Northern body snatchers. In 1829, John D. Godman, M.D., wrote of how, on behalf of several Philadelphia medical schools, he has secretly paid the manager of a public graveyard for the privilege of emptying the pit of about 5,285 cadavers a month during each dissecting season. The reference to a dissection season was pragmatic as well as academic. Before the advance of efficient preservative technology, corpse decay quickly, except for those corpses that are pickled in whiskey for export. Bodies were exhumed during the cool of the academic year, from fall through spring. Todd Sabat explains that blacks were well aware of this morbid seasonality, as evinced by one elderly Virginia slave who, passing the medical school, shuddered and said, "Please God, I hope when I die, it will be in the summertime."
Okay, first of all, thank you. That was a mixed print. That's 50 to 85 cadavers. My bad.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So
We needed you to edit that, but you wasn't available. Go ahead.
So the question is, why did white physicians and administrators distance themselves from the collecting of cadavers and specimens? Well, it was illegal.
Yeah.
It was a crime. And so they didn't want to be caught. They didn't want to be punished. Not that any of them ever were, from what I could see. But yeah, they didn't want to be caught with the goods in their hand.
And the ones that ended up or were caught, or affiliated with them, they ended up getting the lowest person on the totem pole. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
They end up getting the people like Harris. They end up going to jail. The doctors, white doctors, never did go to jail. Kind of like the drug dealer that stand on the street,
Mm-hmm.
but the bankers never go to jail.
Yeah.
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 Ms. Moses, you awfully quiet there.
Oh, all of this whole chapter makes me think of this series that I watch off and on Cinemax. It's called The Nick, and it's about turn of the century medicine or medical doctors in New York. And at first, before I started reading this book, I didn't understand. I thought it was really just a dramatization. Really.
Fiction.
This very fiction. This arrogant doctor and his staff, and they're doing the surgical theater, and they're experimenting on these patients without anesthesia or washing their hands. And you have a hospital administrator who's making back deals, using the money that the benefactors are giving him for everything else. To give his wife the high life. He owes the local gangsters. He's trying to get cadavers for the medical students. Meanwhile, the ambulance drivers for the two hospitals in the city are racing to, wherever there's an accident or people are sick, and they're threatening each other to get the bodies because they get paid per body. So as I'm reading this book, I'm thinking, okay, probably a lot of that stuff is not just just fiction. So it's just, just so incredible because now I can really, watching that series, I can visualize, these folks that Washington is writing about doing the things they're doing. And it's just really, and I know the series is not even touching the truth because most of their victims they're showing, they're poor white people, and they showed the one black doctor they actually allowed to, well, they were forced to let him into the hospital, but he couldn't touch the patients. He had to treat the black patients in the cellar. So even with this series, it's trying to, reveal the truth. It can't tell everything because if it was, it would have shown the people they were working on would have been the black people, the black bodies, on the table.
Right.
So.
Wow.
Yeah, that reminds me. As I'm working on the videos and collecting images, it was pretty hard to find images that reflected this content. Images, like you can find a lot of images of white bodies on a slab, but not a lot of black bodies on a slab. So.
And that's very telling. Who's controlling the information? There's stuff they don't want to get out because.
Well, it's kind of like when you want to talk about history, and because that's all we're talking about, the history, the bad history of this country, and there's good history, but there's bad history, and Oklahoma deciding that its AP history course, they are only going to have readings of Ronald Reagan's speeches and the Ten Commandments for in history, because history, the history that was being told and through true academia put America in a bad light. So this is what they intend to do. So the same thing with them literally whitewashing history with the cadavers on the table is that they're not ready and don't want to face the horrors of the truth and the history that is actually ours.
Yeah. Yeah.